Welcome into another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about some legitimate possibilities for the Chapter 20 killer. There's a lot of speculation and ideas on the next killer. We're going to go over the valid theories and come up with some educated guesses on who the next killer might be.
The first step is always like, will it make sense in the game? Will it fit thematically and in terms of gameplay mechanics?
What's up, guys? My name is Schmuckles. Chapter 20 is the 5-year anniversary for Dead by Daylight, so we can expect this new killer to be a giant release. Stick around till the end of the video if you want to see sound bites out of a podcast where game director Matthew Cote actually talks a little bit more about the licenses that Behavior is actively pursuing. Also, if you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when I post more content like this. I also stream on Twitch on Wednesday and Sunday. The link is in the description below. Some people think the next killer will be another original. A lot of cool fan ideas have come from this. The fan-made designs I've found attempt to find killers that are different from the current 23 killers in the game, but still feel similar to the overall aesthetic of Dead by Daylight. The Chapter 20 release is going to be big, so the ideas that have been created are giant villainous characters that could be designed as originals. Matthew Cote has admitted that they prefer original killers because they're easier to implement into the game.
Yeah, the licensed killers also are very interesting because we a lot of them you see in movies, and movies are a very different medium, and we need to be able to find a good way to use our gameplay mechanics to present them in a way that honors what they stand for, but it still makes sense within our game. So it's kind of a tough one, this one.
However, the last 3 killers in Dead by Daylight have been originals, and only one of the last 6 killers have been licensed. Now, Matthew Cote has openly said that they try and average 1 to 2 licensed killers every year. If we look at the last 2 anniversary events, in 2019 it was Ghostface, and in 2020 it was Pyramid Head.
If you take any random people out there and you ask what's their list of the top 10 killers in the world of horror, Ghostface is gonna be somewhere in there.
It seems like Behavior has been going with this formula of giant licensed releases for the last anniversary events, at least the last couple. This means the new killer could be a classic killer, like Dracula, Hannibal Lecter, Slender Man, Terminator, Jekyll and Hyde, or the Alien. I wanted to take a second to talk about Dracula and Hannibal Lecter. Behavior has tried so many different kinds of killers the last couple of chapters. I think if Behavior's trying to go with a classic killer for the big 5-year, it's likely it's one of these 2 killers. These 2 killers would be huge releases in the game. They could also go with something really classic like a Psycho Chapter. The Psycho Chapter is a dream of mine. If I got to pick what chapter would come next to Dead by Daylight, it would be Psycho every time. I just think that if they're going to go with a classic killer, Dracula and Hannibal Lecter are guaranteed to bring more people into Dead by Daylight.
There's some really cool concepts out there. There's some really cool characters out there that will just probably never make it into the game just because we'd have to transform them so much to make them fit that it wouldn't do them justice.
I'm gonna go over the top 5 killers that Behavior has openly admitted that they've tried to pursue the license. One killer that's not on this list is Jason Voorhees. Apart from the fact that the Trapper is actually based off of Jason, there's a giant lawsuit going on preventing Behavior from getting the Jason license. I posted a video about this. You can click on the title above if you want to see that. Number 5 on this list is Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's, or FNAF. I just want to point out that the average age of FNAF players is 12 to 16, while Dead by Daylight players are on average in their 20s. This would be a good idea if Behavior was trying to target old FNAF players to expand the DBD community. This license is number 5 because Scott Cawthon, the creator of FNAF, has had this collaboration in mind since 2016. I have contacted Scott about Springtrap being wanted on Dead by Daylight. Hopefully one day we get to see FNAF in this amazing game. Obviously this doesn't mean anything, but if he has seen the demand for it to happen, it's definitely something he should think about in DBD 2. I've wanted this collab to happen for years. I remember people talking about this back in 2016. Times have changed, and you can clearly see Scott is open to share the franchise with other companies now. But we saw Pyramid Head from the game Silent Hill come into the game about a year ago. It's been almost 2 years since the last licensed killer came from a movie, so the rest of the killers on this list are all movie licenses that Behavior has talked about. Number 4 on this list is Pennywise. A lot of people think Pennywise is too similar to the clown, or Pennywise would be a good clown skin. Think of how much more money Behavior would make if they released Pennywise as a new killer in the game. The DBD community would grow, and they could add a map straight out of the It movies. Matthew Cote has talked about Pennywise even after the clown release.
What would be your dream licensed killer and survivor?
Pennywise.
Wow, Pennywise.
I'm a huge fan of Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
I love what he does, and yeah, it's a difficult one to get a hold of.
The clown was released on the Curtain Call chapter on June 12th of 2018, and this podcast was in 2019. A lot of things could have changed behind the scenes since then. The reason Pennywise is not in the top 3 is because Stephen King is hesitant to let go of the Pennywise license. Stephen King owns the license to Pennywise because he wrote the book It in 1986. It was then a miniseries in 1990, and then it was rebooted in 2017 as a full-length feature film. Number 3 on this list is Chucky. This list is what's likely, not necessarily what I want. Matthew Cote has talked about Chucky having a place in Dead by Daylight in multiple interviews.
My name is Mathieu Cote. I'm the game director on Dead by Daylight, and I'm also head of partnership for Behavior Digital. There are some also that I really like, but that don't fit exactly in Dead by Daylight, so I don't know if we'll ever see them, but maybe. I'm thinking of things like Chucky from Child's Play, for instance. He's more comedy than horror, but he wouldn't be completely out of place in our world.
Having Victor come into the game in Chapter 18 with the twins gives Behavior a good starting point for introducing Chucky into the game from a design perspective. Number 2 on this list is Candyman. He's someone who's been overhyped and speculated for years. I think the big Chapter 25-year anniversary might be the right stage for a killer like this. Introducing Candyman would be a giant release that everyone wants to see. This would kind of be a safer option for Dead by Daylight, especially since they've come so far out of the box with killers like Trickster and Twins. The actor who played Candyman, Tony Todd, followed Dead by Daylight on Twitter in April of last year, which is hinting at an under-the-radar collaboration since then. A Dead by Daylight Leaks Twitter posted about this collaboration possibility, and Tony Todd himself liked the post. It's all very suspicious, like this collaboration definitely could be going on behind the scenes, but nobody actually knows if Tony Todd's in communication with Behavior. The podcast at the end of the video will also hint a relationship between Candyman and Behavior, so that's why it's number 2 on this list. Number 1 on this list is Pinhead. The reason Pinhead is number 1 on this list is because Matthew Cote has talked about licensing this killer. This option for a killer seems big enough to be a huge 5-year release, but it hasn't gotten too much attention from killer theory forums. This killer looks terrifying, and I could really picture Pinhead on the cover for the Dead by Daylight 5-year anniversary. Since Pinhead hasn't gotten too much attention, this release has the potential to be a giant welcomed surprise. We'll have to wait for more information before we can narrow down the possibilities for the Chapter 20 killer even more. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can have content like this recommended to you by YouTube. And before I show everyone the podcast of Matthew Cote talking about licensed killers, I wanted to ask you guys what your theories are. Let me know in the comments below. Here's that podcast. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
We'll throw some options out here and just a simple yes or no or who, and we can wrap this up. How's that sound?
All right.
Okay.
Who, as in, I don't know who you're talking about.
Yes, like Soldier Boy, for example.
Yes. Let's do this.
Chucky.
Yes.
Pinhead.
Yes.
Candyman.
Yes.
Pumpkinhead.
No. That's not true. We considered it, and then we said no.
All right. The Tall Man.
No.
Hannibal Lecter.
No.
Patrick Bateman.
No.
Angela Baker.
I don't think it was considered. No.
Wow, I thought that was going to be a who, to be honest, but the fact that you know who that is makes me really happy. This one you may not know, though. Dr. Hyder.
Who?
So he was the doctor from the Human Centipede.
Oh, okay.
And that can make for a fun Survivor as well. Well, 3 in 1, basically.
No.
And lastly, the Babadook.
I'd say it was probably considered. Yes.
All right. And of course, I want to say Pennywise, but obviously, since he's your dream licensed killer, the answer is yes to that one.
Yeah, he is an absolute unit.